once again to everybody watching online. There's a couple of hundred people here, but there's many more online coming from @Spunout at the hashtag Youth Rising. That's not hash, folks, that's a hashtag on Twitter. So, folks, I'm going to introduce you to our wonderful chair, Sarah Burke. She's a journalist, she's a health analyst, and she's a Spunout.ie board member, and she's going to be a fantastic chair this afternoon, so I advise you to listen intently to what she's going to say and enjoy yourselves. Thanks, everybody.
Great. Well done, Rory.
Good afternoon, everybody, and you're really welcome to this Spunout.ie Youth Rising Presidential Summit. Can you hear me, or does it sound a bit funny? It's okay? Okay. We're here in what Dublin Contemporary are calling the Office of Non-Compliance, and I think it's a really fantastic space for us to have this Youth Presidential Summit in today. Over 40 years ago, the seeds of the student revolution in UCD began in this lecture theatre. Also today, there's solidarity marches around occupying Wall Street and occupying Downing Street. I think that combined with this Youth Rising event and what we have is probably going to be the next President of Ireland is a very exciting moment to be here. I want to start particularly by welcoming the candidates. They're in the middle of a gruelling schedule. Mary Davis, David Norris, Sean Gallagher, Michael D. Higgins. We believe Martin McGuinness is on the way. He's here. Okay. We never quite tracked down Dana, and Gay Mitchell was committed to be here until late yesterday evening. I think the presence of the candidates who are here is a strong indication of their commitment to young people. And I think perhaps you could read the flip from those who aren't here today. Most of all, I want to thank you, the audience, for being here today. My job is to keep the candidates in line, to get them out of here by 5:30, because I think we're running a bit late, but we'll try and keep it to that. But most of all, to give you the opportunity to ask questions. Our hope is it'll be enjoyable, it'll be lively, it'll be dynamic, and really that you will ask questions to the candidates that we haven't heard before. Loads of questions have been asked again and again, and we've got the same old pat answers. We don't want those same old questions, and we certainly don't want those same old answers. You have been polled on the way in, and you will be polled on the way out. So there is an opportunity for the candidates to influence how you will vote, but also how many of your friends and family will vote. A few rules. The running order will be done by picking names out of the hat, and we'll pick them as we go. Candidates initially get 3 minutes, and with 30 seconds to go for 3 minutes. I was meant to have a great horn to blow, but apparently it's too loud for Dublin Contemporary, so I'm going to bang the bottle with my ring or something like that, okay? And I'm going to keep you to time. And the reason for that is to open it up to get questions from you. I'll ask you to ask questions to a specific candidate. I'm going to try not and let you all answer the same question, because I'm not sure that really works as a format. I'll try and be fair with time, but again, it's sort of up to you to try and come in, but we're not RTE happily, so we don't have to do that divvying out. In the audience, if you can say just your first name, but it is important, if you were a member of a political organisation or a youth organisation, just to say that up front, because I think that will be helpful to the candidates. I ask you to make a question, not a comment, okay? To make brief questions. There's some media and Dublin Contemporary arty people here. I'm not going to allow you to ask questions, and I'm going to keep the questions between 16 and 26-year-olds. We'll start carding you for ID if older people are trying to ask questions. And to the candidates in response, I will interrupt you if you go on for too long. I worked with Vincent Brown for 2 years, so I have good training.
Did you ever cut him short?
I did, all the time, oh yes. And if you don't answer the question, I'll point out that you don't answer the question, okay? I'd ask everyone to be respectful of each other, that we want robust, lively conversation, but we respect that many of us have different opinions. And you, the candidates, You want to be president, but we don't want you in your answers to be confined to the shackles of the presidency. So we don't really care about the articles in the Constitution. We want to know what you think about a certain topic. We want to get more meat here today than we've got on the other media debates, or than you've done in your multiple other sort of topic-specific areas. So we really want to learn about you, the person who wants to have the highest office in the land. It's a big, important job at this critical moment in the country's history. And I think today's audience is one of the most important audiences that you will talk to. 40% of the Irish population are under 25, 30% of them are unemployed, many of them are emigrating, many of you are staying at home, have few opportunities. We asked people to send in comments when you applied online to come here today. And there was a real sense throughout the comments that you were very aware that you did not create the economic crisis, but you are bearing the brunt of that crisis both now and in the future. Also, in the online applications, we asked you to say what you wanted from the President. And actually, your expectations were very high. And candidates, you have a very high mark to reach. And I'm just going to say, this is some of the quotes that you sent in to us before coming here today. You wanted a President who would bring hope and joy, who would be charismatic and intelligent, who would be fearless, who would bring back a sense of pride to the country, who would create an equal republic, who would restore dignity, who would reject commercialism and individual economic advancement, who would engage young people in the election. So that's a long list of demands that you want from these candidates. And I think the challenge for you in the audience is to ask different questions, to ask interesting questions, to be brave and to be bold, to ask them really hard questions and try and get more out of them than we've got out of them to date. I wonder, do I have to go back through the terms and conditions with you, Martin? But anyway, okay. You have to be brief, answer the question, and I'll tell you the rest as we go along, okay? For being late. You're excused because you're here. Do anybody have, just one or two people from the audience, any expectations of how, not the content of what you want to hear from the candidates, but what you want to get out of today? Anything?
From what Colin was talking about earlier, that honesty.
Honesty. Okay, we're looking for honesty. Okay, anything else?
Hope.
Hope, okay. Inspiration. Okay, you see, and that was true in the online applications as well, this very high bar which we're hoping you will meet. Okay, we're going to start. Let's get to it, because we've got to get you out of here. Come on, one of you, come and pick a candidate. Come on, I need a bit of audience participation.
You have to shuffle them.
Oh, I have to shuffle them. Okay, but I need someone to pick it out. Come on, somebody. You're all mobbing out there.
I'd like it out.
No. Okay, you can pass it out.
Oh, we can't pass.
Okay, and we're going to get you to go immediately. You have 3 minutes, and I'll let you know with 30 seconds to go. Okay?
Have a seat. Okay, the surprise will kill us.
Okay, and first up is Sean Gallagher. Okay,
Very good.
Sean, go.
Off to go. Well, the first thing is I guess that as I look around, I could have made the mistake to think that you're all the same, and you're not. And each one of you have got your own ambitions, you got your own passions, you got your own interests, and you do truly have your own song to sing. And I guess if there's one objective I have is to help create an Ireland where you get an opportunity to sing that song. I grew up in a rural village. I grew up, and what shaped my life were two things. One was setting up a Feroga youth club to become a youth leader. Everything that I have done in my life since, and the very reason that I'm standing in this election, is born out of everything that I learned and those that invested in me as youth leaders. And the things that I learned that now bring me to announce, even in the last few days, that one of the commitments that I make, and I've been doing this for years, is to visit schools, transition years, colleges, ITs, is to visit every single secondary school over the next 7 years, all 1,000 of them, in order that every single young person from the age of 12 until they get to the age of 17 before they go to college, and after that, will have met in person the President of this country, so that I can help instill in them the message that was instilled, and the hope and confidence and inspiration that was instilled in me by those youth leaders. So inspired by them was I that in the mid-80s I went on to become a professional youth worker, working in the inner city, working with young people with disabilities, young offenders, and writing the first government national alcohol life skills education program. I speak regularly now, and I'm on the board of the Young Social Innovators, to go back and to meet as many young people as possible. I got a sense growing up from those youth leaders that there were three things that I would build my life around. One were my strengths. I grew up with a disability. I cannot see your faces. You don't need to know that. I don't lead with my disability. I lead with my ability. And I grow my life on my strengths. Secondly, I learned an important thing. It's about sense of self-belief, of resilience, and a belief in yourself and in your future. Most importantly, it is a sense of determination. That in your life, guys, you are not passengers. You're in the driving seat. Your life doesn't happen to you. You've got to go out there and create it. And every single thing that happens to you will be as a result of decisions you make. So that's why I'm so committed to making sure that you guys get involved, that you get opportunities to sing your song. I meet so many people now who are unemployed. And great, thanks, sir. And here's the message I have for them. When they look back at their life in their 40s and 50s, so many of them have lived half lives. Shackled when they were growing up that they should just get a job. And it's much more than getting a job. When people say to me, I don't know what to do, I say, what is it that you want to do with your life? What is it that your song is? To be confident, to go out there and make sure that you make your mark on the world. And it will be about being of service. And it will be about making an impact. And I want to help you to make sure that we create opportunities for you to do just that.
Okay, thanks very much, John. Quickly.
Mary Davis.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mary.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. And what I want to do as President is to instill a sense of hope, a sense of self-belief and confidence in each and every young person in Ireland. Because I believe that if you have that self-belief and confidence in yourself, you can take on any challenge in life. And for me, myself, not just have I 4 young adult children, that I've raised, and I understand the challenges and that you face in your life, but also the energy and the passion that you bring. And it's that energy and that passion that I want to bring to the role of the presidency. I want to be a practical president. I want to support the values of fairness, the values of equality. You know, we may not all be born with equal talent, but we should have the right to ensure that there is equal opportunity for each and every one of us. And respect is very important as well. I also want to build community spirit here in Ireland and to renew that sense of pride in ourselves, and also to represent Ireland on an international stage so that we can repair our good name. We have a strong story to tell, and that I can work with the government to ensure that we bring more foreign direct investment here, that our exports are increasing, particularly emerging countries where I've worked, in places like China, in Brazil, in Russia, and that we also interact with large companies. And I have been working with multinational companies like Coca-Cola in Atlanta and P&G and Microsoft, and I understand what they expect here from Ireland to come and do business here, and I would be very passionate about leading that in my role as President. One of the first things that I did when I announced my candidacy for the presidency was to gather together leaders in the field of youth and youth services to find out what were the issues that you are faced with today. And indeed, there are issues like mental health issues, issues like suicide, issues like anger and frustration sometimes at your voice not being listened to, not being heard, your needs not being taken into account. Unemployment, we all know, you're worried about your future. What's going to happen when you finish college? Where are you going to get jobs? And, of course, emigration. And I know that well from my own daughter, who has had to emigrate. But young people are staying connected, that are emigrating. And my hope is that they will come back, and that people, when they go away, will go away by by choice rather than by necessity.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Martin.
Can I say, first of all, thanks very much for the invitation to be with you at this very important event. When I was growing up in Derry, Derry was a war zone occupied by thousands of British soldiers, an awful lot of inequality, injustice, discrimination and domination. And we went through a very bitter conflict for 2 decades. And as a result of all of that and my political involvement, I found myself at the heart of very important political negotiations, probably the most important political and peace negotiations seen in Ireland for almost a century. And out of that we achieved a transformation of the political situation in the North. People said, you know, you would never get a negotiation, and even if you did, you would never get an agreement. And then if you got an agreement, oh, it'll never work. But we made it work. And then they said, well, you'll never get Ian Paisley and the DUP into government. But we got Ian Paisley and the DUP into government. And it worked really well. I had a good relationship with Ian Paisley, good relationship with Peter Robinson. And I tell you that because that agreement has transformed the lives of young people in the North. And I'm very proud that I was at the heart of many of these important negotiations so that we could inspire people, not just in the North, but over the whole island of Ireland, for peace and against further violence. And we've made massive strides forward. So people wonder, why have I chosen at this time to stand for the presidency of my country? I've chosen it because, first of all, I believe that the 6 northern counties are as Irish as any of the other 26. And I want to be president of every one of Ireland's 32 counties. I understand I'll be elected only for the state, but many people in the North, including many unionists, I believe would be very proud if I was the president of all Ireland. I am also standing in this election because I am disgusted at the greed and selfishness that we have seen in the course of recent times. The big salaries, the big pensions, the former government ministers who walked away after the last election with €360,000 in their back pocket and left behind them mass immigration, mass unemployment. So I want to be president because I want to stand in an Ireland where there's haves and have-nots, and more have-nots than haves. I want to stand with the have-nots. And that's why I said, presidential salary, I don't want it. We'll use it for the people of Ireland. Not go to any political party, not go back to the Exchequer, but for the people of Ireland. And one idea was bring 6 young people off the dole queue who are unemployed and pay them out of my presidential salary. And that's only symbolic, and it's only 6 young people, but it's done for a bigger purpose. The purpose is to put it up to the selfish and the greedy, those people who ran the economy into the ground, that we need a better way forward.
Okay. Thanks, Martin. Okay, Michael D. Shoot. Oh, inappropriate term, perhaps. Sorry.
All right. The first thing I'll say is that I like all the language I'm hearing this afternoon. Words like radical, emancipatory, and so on. And the first thing I want to say to you is that these words weren't always welcome during my career in politics. They weren't welcome when we were working for women's rights, children's rights, and very often they would be the basis of abuse if you were talking about human rights abroad. So at the end of this session, whoever you decide to vote for president, hold on to the important words. Radical. That means that there are really fundamental changes needed, and they are needed not in the forms of the economy, but on the assumptions and values of what in fact brought us to where we are now. And you put a question to yourselves then, do you want to revive a debt model, or do you want to think about something new? Another word that is very important, I think, if I'm to be positive about it, is that it is important to question inevitabilities. Nothing is inevitable. If you take the opposite of emancipatory, and if you take the opposite of the other words, radical, what it is a kind of quiet submission to something that is wrong. So therefore, critical capacity is important. And the very worst thing of all is cynicism, which you might encounter in other age groups. Reject cynicism, hold on to emancipatory, hold on to the word radical. When I was a child, being reared by my uncle and aunt in County Clare, you can read all the details about my biography in different other places. But the one thing I remember was the first time I went to a meeting and spoke, and the shiver that goes through you said, I stood up and I said that. That's what's important in active citizenship. It's not a concession to being appointed only. We'll all be in favour of some young person in the Council of State. But what's important to is encourage participation. And not only by those who have the benefit of education, but by everyone who's having any kind of experience. Young and equal. That is what is radical. That is what a republic is. And that's why I put 4 elements when I started last May. A radical inclusive citizenship in a creative society, creative about everything. Creating an Irishness of which we'd be proud. And, if you like, then as well as that, taking the steps towards being a republic. My message is, and it's a simple one, be the arrow in everything, not the target. Therefore it is for young people who will crush homophobia that is creating such terrible problems of mental health. It is young people who will ask others to say, we have the right for things to be taken account in their specific reality. Of course we shouldn't have young people in adult institutions for mental health. Of course we shouldn't have young people going into prison. But these are the concerns of all of you as young people. Be together, be radical, talk emancipatory, act emancipatory, and that's what you'll get from me when I'm president.
You were under time, which is remarkable for yourself, if I can say so.
I'm learning.
Yes. And last but not least, David Norris.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I'm delighted to be back here again. I've been in this room on many occasions speaking, both to adult education classes and to student meetings when I was teaching down the road in Trinity. I think that it is very important we reclaim language. And I remember when it was dangerous in America, for example, to use the word liberal. And look where that got us, with Mr. Bush and the rest of them, and the war in Iraq, which people like myself here campaigned against. But I want to say one thing. In me, you get a completely 24-carat independent voice. I've never been brought aboard, no member of a political party, no association, whatever, good, bad, or indifferent. You've got an independent. I'm not Sinn Féin, I'm not Labour, I'm not Fianna Fáil, nothing against them. They're necessary for the function of the system, and any large group, believe you me, it's a mistake to label them. They're good people in every single one, and as President, I'd be happy to work with them as I have in the past. But I would say this, with me, you don't just get rhetoric, you get delivery. I deliver the Foreign Affairs Committee in Iraq, never had one. And I had help from Michael D. Higgins, and I'm very proud to call him my friend and colleague of many years. Other people talk about the Constitution. I'm the only one on the platform who used the Constitution to assert and sustain the rights of a marginalised minority whose name could not even be spoken in this country. The word was not seen. And I'm proud of that, but I'm not going to be a gay president. I'll be a president who happens to be gay. But I'll tell you this, my election would ring throughout this entire globe. For that reason. But just like my friend Mary Robinson, when she was elected the first woman president, she didn't have to go on talking about feminism. She'd done it. The very act being chosen by you, the people. And can I say, I believe I have to return the presidency to the people of Ireland. But if we all know there was a little bit of hugger-muggering going on, that there would be an agreed president, people were approached. But I made damn sure that didn't happen. And I've made damn sure through this election that the whole nomination process will now have to be scrutinised because the people are outraged. I've also written poetry. I've even had some of them published. I had a play put on in the Dublin Theatre Festival. It started off in Tag Job, but my principle is this, and I think you exemplify it in the wonderful work done, initiated by Rory McKiernan. Diversity, principle, and my principle is this, and I think you understand.
30 seconds.
The danger to which we've all been exposed economically and every other way is because this government, as other governments throughout Europe, put the preservation of the system and the interests of the establishment above the welfare of the people. And I tell you what good government is. Good government is putting the welfare of the people first. And as President, I promise to exemplify that, can I finally say, when you read out that list of things that people thought they should have in the president, I thought you were reading out a character list, a character check of all of us.
We've 45 minutes, so we want to get loads and loads of questions. And what always happens is people are really slow in the beginning, and then when they're trying to get out the door, everyone wants to ask questions. So if we could reverse that. So hands up quick, and we'll start taking them and getting them round. Oh, fantastic.
How many at a time?
I was going to go 1. Let's do that quickly. Yeah, just give someone a mic, and someone over here a mic, and shoot. Yeah.
My name's Owen. I'm from ReachOut.com. Is that too loud, or is it okay?
No, say it again.
I'm Owen. I'm from ReachOut.com. 3 of the candidates sitting in front of us got on board for mental health back during the general election. That's Mary Davis, Senator Norris, and Sean Gallagher. Senator Norris, you have as part of your manifesto mental health as one of your 3 pillars. Sean, I haven't seen anything apart from this background that you mentioned in youth work where you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to help with issues around youth mental health. So where do you stand at the moment? What is it that you, as President, could do for us, those who are in difficulty?
Okay.
And you're directing it to Sean?
To Sean, yeah.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
And we'll give some.
Well, in the last while, I spoke in Moville and Donegal to people on the issue of mental health. I spoke in West Tipperary. And I'm very close connected with Paul Kelly from Console, who's done a great job, and Joan Freeman in Pieta House. Pull back from mental health and ask, what is mental health? And mental health is that sense of resilience that allows all of us to deal with the times of darkness that come. That's the reason why I speak in schools. My message in every school I speak at is, understand 2 things, that there is no one in this room who will not hit a dark patch. And that may be the death of a parent, it may be the break of a relationship, it may be the loss of a job. And you will have a dark day. And the first thing is to understand that that's normal. The second thing is, those around us, all our friends and colleagues and peers, need to be aware that when that happens, they need to recognize the signs, and they need to be sensitive and caring and compassionate. But the idea of giving people confidence is about being able to ask those around you for help. The very program that I wrote, spent 2 years writing, about alcohol and education and drug abuse, is the very skills for mental health. A manual on self-esteem, because every aspect of our life where we fail is because of self-esteem. Assertiveness, decision-making, peer pressure. These are all the skills, and that's why in schools I am so committed to the fact that these life skills need to be every bit as important as the academic skills that you learn in your life, because you will change jobs and you can change careers, but those skills will stay with you.
I'm not sure you answered the question, but I'm going to move on because I think...
Well, the other bit, just to finish up, first to highlight the issue.
No, I've got to move on, Sean. I'm really sorry. But if people could try and ask a specific question, because to be honest, that was a difficult question to answer. So make it a good question, but very difficult. No, you're not allowed. Specific questions and brief answers. Okay, this woman here, this fella here, and then I'm going to go to one of the women over there. And I'll try to get to all of you, but let's keep it moving.
I was just basically going to ask Sean the exact same question, so I think I have to...
Okay, well then we'll move on from you.
But it shows how important it is now, central to young people's well-being.
You don't need to shout, David. This fella here. Yeah.
Well, my name is Rob Dunlop. I'm here as an individual, primarily as a member of the Occupy Dame Street group, where I've been camping for the past week. And as the as the great-grandson of Desmond Fitzgerald, freedom fighter and Minister for Foreign Affairs in the first Irish government. Now, the Irish presidency is a largely symbolic role.
Now, are you asking a question?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
It's only executive powers to sign off on the decisions of others. So given that our spending on public services and social welfare, our taxation, our distribution of natural resources and all other significant decisions are now made externally by the IMF and at EU level, is it not the case that the current government perfectly mirrors the presidency in its powerlessness? And
Okay,
I'd like to say that people fought and
Your
died so that
question
this
is-
country would be governed by its people rather than externally controlled.
Okay, Rob,
by-
no, listen, your question is
So-
good, but it's very long, and you need to ask
What would you, as President, Michael D, I find you an inspiration, so I'd like to ask you, what would you do as President to restore legitimacy to the Irish political system?
Okay.
Well, I think that what is required is a transformation in the word transformation is another one to add to my little list, but it is a transformation in politics, in institutions, in language and in consciousness. Now, in consciousness, and this is the part that's toughest, directly related to your question, you have to make a choice at a point where your own biography and history intersect with each other as to whether you are going to work with the materials you have and make a significant change on those, at the same time holding out, as Martin Luther King did, to a vision that is longer in time and even intergenerational. And one of the challenges for progressive thought is to be able not to sacrifice what can be done and should be done now as the price of the fundamental changes that have taken place. As President, I think the language of the President is important. I've been using language in a particular way. The reason, for example, I moved, wrote not only in the Academy, but wrote for Hot Press for 10 years, was that I wanted to introduce young readers who, irrespective of their occupation, to the struggles that were going on in Central America and Africa, and the struggles going on at home, in civil divorce, in children's rights, and all of those things. So yes, what you have is an inspirational role, but your language is important, and under Article 39 you do have some scope, but not a lot, but you do have some.
Okay, thank you very much. We go over here to this young woman in blue.
My book, by the way, Renewing the Republic, is out.
Okay.
My name's Rachel. I'm a member of the Donegal Youth Council. My question's from Mary Davis. Have you an opinion on airbrushed images of women in general, and particularly your posters? It's just because there's been a lot of controversy due to whether or not your posters have been airbrushed. Given the amount of stress that young women experience around body image and self-esteem, that's why I'm asking.
Okay, no, I think it's actually a very serious question.
Thank you, Rachel. And of course, I would love to get up every morning and look like I do in the poster, but after a grueling 3 or 4 months of going round the county councils to get receive the nomination from the county councils, and then the campaign and everything, you just don't always look as good as when you can, get your hair done, get your makeup done, wonderful lighting, good photography. So it was a combination of all of those things. It is a serious question in relation to, in relation to women in general and the commodification of women. And
you regret it in hindsight, as in terms of you as a role model and what that message gives to young women, having an airbrush poster?
No, but it's not an airbrush poster. It's not. No, it's not an airbrush poster. It's a poster that has good photography, good lighting, a combination of a whole range of things. That's what it is. But I understand what you're talking about, and I understand the importance of that, and indeed I would champion that as President in the same way that I would champion the trafficking of women.
Well, I earned every wrinkle, and I want them. I don't have the money for posters. If I had, I'd have every wrinkle on them.
Okay, there's a young woman here, and I don't know how. Okay, keep going. Yep. You
okay.
And
Meg, my question is for Mr. Gallagher. Almost all the other candidates, especially the candidates that are here today, and the 2 previous presidents, have a very strong background in civil rights and campaigning for civil rights. I know you have a very strong background in youth work, but do you feel that since you'd be lacking a little bit on the civil rights front, that the office of the presidency and Ireland's image in the wider world as a country that places a huge emphasis on civil rights would lack if you were to become president?
Okay, so you're asking about your human rights credentials.
Well, 2 things in summary, Meg. What are human rights? When I stepped forward, I wanted the centre theme of my presidency to be about employment. To me, that's a human right. there are 500,000 people who do not have a work, who do not have a job to go to, and will have, many of them, 50,000, have to emigrate. That's a human right. I work way behind the scenes, working as patron of those who have disabilities to get jobs for them. I grew up with a disability. I have fought that in my entire life. But I don't wear it around me as a badge. And the idea of mental health is, of course, we'll all go to challenge that and appear at conferences. Mine is a living example to every young person I speak to that 40 years ago, someone like me was told that they would never amount to anything. Last week I handed my nomination papers in. To me, that's a living embodiment that anyone in this country can achieve anything they can. I represent cases all the time to challenge all, even subcontractors, all those thousands of people who lost their jobs in the downturn. I've created a law over 2 years to protect them in the future.
Human rights of subcontractors is a bit of a stretch on it, perhaps.
Hold on. Well, I actually don't believe that.
Okay.
I actually don't believe that. A human right is the fact that if a big developer can come in and wipe out your entire harvest, to me that's a human right of protection.
Okay. I'm going to go. There's a young woman here, there's a young fella there, and let's keep them moving, yeah?
My name is Sarka Kizek, and I was until this year a member of the Donegal Youth Council. And during my term, the biggest project I worked on was sexual health. There's a serious lack of sexual health education in schools. There's a high number of teen pregnancies. There's a rise of STIs, especially chlamydia.
You ask a question, Sarka?
I will do, 2 seconds. And yet we have no sexual health strategy in place in our country to combat this. It doesn't seem to matter what government is in power. None have developed any sexual health strategy to date. My question is, why is that? And I'm going to direct it at Senator Norris.
Well, thank you very much. At last, a question. And a question I can answer very clearly. You are 100% right, and it worries me particularly because of the situation regarding AIDS. I'm of the generation when quite a few of my friends died as a result of the complications from acquired immune deficiency syndrome. I brought 2 doctors over from San Francisco to give lectures on sexual health in the Hirschfeld Centre, which I and others, some of whom are here today, established with me. And can I tell you that I authorised the publication of 250,000 leaflets on sexual health and hygiene, and this was in defiance of the law, because the law in that case was, I think, the 1867 Indecent Advertisements Act, and you could be jailed for giving advertisements about reproductive matters, about sexual health and sexual hygiene and so on and so forth. And I sent a copy to the then minister, Michael Dees, and my old friend Barry Desmond. And he wrote back in his classic Irish, he said, thank God somebody has broken the law and done what was needed to be done.
Okay, I don't think you're answering the question.
I think I answered it. In what way did I not answer the question? No. You can't say that without answering.
The question was, what do you think should happen to put sexual health
I think I said it. I think people should tell the truth. They should take the bit of courage that they can listen. If necessary, undermine compliance. Get it done because it is your lives. Does that answer the question?
I'm going to ask this fellow to ask the next question here.
And tell the truth about human sexuality, which has never been done in this country by the church or by the state.
Okay.
My name's Jacob. My question's directed at Mr. Gallagher. With all due respect...
Sean, no misters in this room.
Sorry, Sean Gallagher. With all due respect, don't you think your time could be better spent advocating the Irish cause abroad rather than visiting all teenagers? I mean, I know that, at least myself, what I want in a president is someone who really leads the way forward and acts as a beacon of hope and you know, of course, uses their abilities, or uses their power to the best of their abilities, you know, rather than doing meet and greets with teenagers.
Okay, so this is about his commitment to visit every school in Ireland. Is that a waste of your time, basically?
Okay. Well, I don't believe so, but let me skip to the most important part that you mentioned, Jim, which is the big challenge internationally is I want to be, to use my background in enterprise, to lead the international element, to be an economic ambassador that you're speaking about, to bring tourists to Ireland with the tourism board, to bring trade to Ireland and to bring foreign direct investment to Ireland. That's real, Jacob, and that's tangible. And I'm absolutely 100% committed to do that. And I believe that there's nobody else in this race that understands enterprise, that's created the employment I have, and has mentored and supported so many hundreds and indeed thousands of entrepreneurs.
How many jobs have you created, Sean?
I've created 100 jobs myself.
I created 20 buses stations. I brought Bloomsday to Dublin that day. That created a hell of a lot of jobs.
But the point I'm just making, Jerry, is that the real challenge now in terms of what's relevant is to create economic circumstances and in the rights of Megs to give everybody an opportunity to have work. I'm absolutely fundamentally focused on delivering that.
Okay. I'm going to be slightly... we need a question from Martin McGuinness here just to even up the time. Okay, so who's the question? This woman here with the mic. Okay, great. Go.
So my question is for Martin. I think a lot of people have brought up equality, but equality is one of those kind of issues that there's a lot of different people involved that still feel unequal in our society. Everything from women in politics, we still, in terms of Europe, have a very, very low number of women in politics. It's 13% in the Dáil at the moment. Even Rwanda has 43%, I think, at last election. But what do you think can be done by the President in a practical sense to promote equality?
Okay, Martin.
Okay. Well, one thing that I won't be is a President who sits quietly. I want to be a President that speaks out, that's prepared to shine a light on those issues that are of concern to people within society. I mean, in the last term of the Assembly in the North, Sinn Féin had more women MLAs than all of the other parties put together. And that's because Sinn Féin has been very actively promoting women within politics. And I think that's very, very important because it's very difficult for women to rise to the top within politics because it is a male-dominated society. And as President, what I would want to do, and obviously in this presidential campaign I'm not speaking for Sinn Féin, but what I would want to do is bring about a situation where issues that are of concern, and equality is a big issue at this stage, and in Ireland where we have haves and have-nots. We have a big problem here, folks, and I think young people have got a major responsibility to take up the challenges which lie ahead in terms of making it clear to government that what happened thus far in terms of the economy being driven into the ground is totally and absolutely unacceptable. So as President, what I would do is shine a light on the issue, and I would be someone who is prepared to speak out and not sit tamely in the arse and be subjected to the restrictions of the establishment or the powers that be.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Now, just a second, it's show of hands, all the people who still want to ask questions, right? We've about 15 or 20 to get through, so I'll keep on trying to come to you. Okay, this fella here.
Hi, I'm Luke McKenna from Dublin Council, like that's us collectively. I feel sorry for like Diana, David, Martin, which have been like painted with a bad brush by the press recently over their background. But like Jana's song, all types everything. Shouldn't our people of Ireland like all be, what can I say? They should all be diversity, be more diversity. Everyone should have a president. No one wants a squeaky clean president. So collectively, I'm asking you, are you across the press painting you guys in a bad light at any stage?
Okay, so the question is, are they cross with the press for painting them in a bad light? We might just take yes and no's on this. So I'll start with Mary.
Well, I think there has to be...
No, seriously, I'm just doing yes and no's on this. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
They'll find out
yes
about...
or no?
Stop bullying!
I'm not bullying!
Okay, I don't like bullying and I won't take bullying and I never took it to school and I'm certainly not taking it here. And I can tell you something, Madam Chair, there's some questions that are so serious that you don't get a yes or no.
I'm just trying to get a...
I'll tell you this. If I am not elected the 9th President of Ireland, they'll bloody soon find out how I feel.
Yes or no? Are you cross?
I'm not cross. I'm disappointed with the tone of the debate.
Okay, Michael D.
I'm a no, but I'm recommending a period of reflection.
I mean, like David, I think it actually is such a big question. It actually should be allowed for us to say a few sentences in relation
Okay, well,
to
the reason I'm not writing is because this is about giving young people as much
No, I
as possible,
understand that.
and we could take
But
up the
the
entire
question-
30 minutes left.
But the
on
question was
with you
specifically
talking.
about how we've been treated in the election. And there's been a lot of talk about me over the course of recent times. But I am satisfied that the people of Ireland are with me in this election. But I'm also satisfied to leave to the judgment of the people of Ireland the fairness or otherwise of how
The question was, were you
media
cross
treated.
with the media? That was the young man's question.
Well, I was disappointed in the way the prime time debate was handled. Yes, absolutely, I was disappointed. I thought it was unfair.
Okay, next question. Here you go.
How you doing? Yeah, my name is Luke. I'm going to break the rules a little bit and ask 2 questions, all right?
No, you can only ask one and do it quickly.
Okay. Well, I have the mic. But okay, really quickly. The first question.
By now. Keep going.
The first question is for Mark McGuinness. Do you feel that your work in the North, do you feel that before stepping down and coming to contest this election, do you feel that you completed that work? Do you feel like it was the right time to step away from that and say, okay, I've done enough there, and now I'm ready to come and try for the presidency in Ireland?
Yeah. Well, I thought very seriously about that. I also spoke to Peter Robinson, who I respect as a peacemaker. I respect Ian Paisley as a peacemaker. I would not have stepped away. I've been in the office of First and Deputy First Minister, effectively joint First Minister of the North, along with the DUP, for the last 5 years. I would not have taken this step if I was in any way concerned about the peace process or the stability of the power sharing or all Ireland institutions. We have very talented people at the Assembly. All of the politicians, with the exception of one, and there's 108 of them, are dedicated to a peaceful way forward. So we are going to go forward. The people of Ireland have united in favour of peace, and they have united against further violence. So I'm very comfortable about taking on this challenge and not being concerned about the stability of the institutions.
Okay, you're chancing your arm. Quick, yeah.
Okay, this for whoever wants to answer it, I guess.
Breaking all the rules.
Yeah, breaking all the rules, sorry. Basically, in terms of, away from all the gloom and doom of the economy and the morass that we're in, it's a really exciting time to be president of Ireland. And I'll say why. In the next...
No, what's your question?
Yeah, it's coming, it's all part of it, it's coming to it. Because, hold on now, bear with me, because, it's talking about the next 7 to 14 years as president of Ireland. We're talking about a generational shift. For me, as an immigrant coming into Ireland, I have brothers that grew up here, that were born here, that grew up here. In terms of social inclusion, my brothers they go to school in a place called Ballyjames in County Cavan. I think Sean.
Great spot.
Yeah, great spot indeed. I went to school there to pick my brothers up
What's
once.
your question?
I'm coming to it. Bear with me. I went to school once to pick my brothers up from school, and it was incredible. Small town, Ballyjames all the kids coming out from all over the world, from every corner of the world. And I'm guessing my question is, in terms of the evolution of the Irish of the demographics of Ireland. What are you going to do as president, as a symbol of the country? What are you going to do to be inclusive? What are you going to do
who are you
to utilize the diversity that's in Ireland to create a better future for Ireland?
I think you should be a politician.
Michael D.
Well, I think that we should accept, to save time, we should accept that we're making a new tapestry, and that new tapestry will have many colours and many threads in it. But that means if we're serious about inclusion, I think, as well, we should be willing to listen to all the different stories. I had my time when I was a member of the Dáil, had maybe 4 out of 5 immigrant cases in Galway. The one thing that just always struck me is when you'd handle the legal issues, how rarely people were asked to tell their story. It really is important, intergenerationally as well. That's part of the youth thing too. The most moving thing I saw in inclusion was on the Iron Islands, where children were teaching their grandparents how to use computers, and the grandparents were telling the stories of the islands to the youngsters who were recording it. In the same way, inclusion is not about tolerance. Inclusion is about full equality, but that means feeling the freedom to be able to listen and to incorporate other stories, making the tapestry that is the new Ireland, and that includes people from different traditions, north and south as well.
Okay, thanks.
It's also to build on that. It's about promoting and building communities and promoting active citizenship. And I have been promoting active citizenship since 2006, and I see the energy that exists in our communities and the diversity that's there. And it is a matter of bringing that together, and that's what the President can do.
Okay, thanks, Mary. Now, my candidates are getting very bolshy and insisting on coming in. This is going to end in chaos soon. Okay, so I'm going to give them each a very quick bit, and then
I
we're
just
up
wanted
here.
to answer Luke's question, which I think is an important one. When I was studying youth work, there was a young guy on the course called Thomas McCann, first traveller ever to go to university. On my placement at the end of my term, I just spent 3 months with the travellers in Navan, with Michael McDonough. He was the next traveller to go to university, now doing a PhD. Yes. The reason I tell you that is that you are more passionate and your story is stronger than anyone up here could tell about your experience. And when I said that you should be a politician, I was not joking. You should now speak and be the voice of your people, and those experiences that you have, and coordinate and organise those to be a voice, because you guys are the future. And I think sometimes you can expect that the President would do everything. We will shine a light. I think the best light we can shine is for you guys to step forward and to be the change. Truly, I encourage you to do that.
Okay, David.
Well, I think diversity is very important. Why wouldn't I? Wasn't I there speaking at the Pride with the rainbow flag behind me? I know what it means to be excluded. Not just because I'm gay. I'm Anglican, Church of Ireland, tiny minority. I grew up in a triumphalist Catholic country where the Church told the government what to do. So I know about exclusion. And I believe very strongly that it's important that we include people, and I believe that my election would signal that to the entire world. And can I tell you, one of the things I'm proudest of is my friendship with a fellow called Tom Ireland, very brief story, bus driver, unemployed because he couldn't handle the traffic, from Ballyfermot, saw a film by John Pilger. He was aged about the same age, probably a bit older than he was, in his early 20s, about East Timor. From his little home in 210 Lefana Road in Ballyfermot, he started the Ireland East Timor Solidarity Campaign. We brought him into the Foreign Affairs Committee. He organised the whole thing. He spoke to the Foreign Affairs Ministers. He changed Irish foreign policy, changed European foreign policy. And can I tell you, I thrilled when I heard Professor Peter Carey of Oxford University saying that the Suharto regime fell. Of course, when one considers the downfall of the Suharto regime in Indonesia, one must accept the significant role played by Tom Hyland of Ballyfermot in Dublin. I never heard Ballyfermot pronounced like that, but I felt so bloody proud that when somebody from a marginalised working class area of Dublin with no money, with his passionate commitment to human rights, could put the skids on one of the lousiest dictatorships on this planet, and that's what all of you can do if you accept that we're all in it together. We shouldn't be just cherishing the children of our nation, but of the entire planet equally together.
Here, here.
Martin in on this one as well.
Well, I am very conscious of the fact that over 150 years ago, many people had to leave this island and travel to the United States of America to make a life for themselves in the aftermath of the Great Hunger. And when they arrived there, many of them were treated absolutely despicably. No Irish need apply. I walk out on the streets of any of the avenues in New York now and I see a cosmopolitan city, people from all over the world mixing happily together, and a huge responsibility on legislators to ensure that the legislation is strong enough to protect the rights of all. That's what we have to do too. I think the new ethnic minorities who come into this country enrich our society in a very, very powerful way, broadens our view of the world and makes us better people. And for us not to defend them is a crime. For us not to defend them, in my opinion, is cowardice of the worst kind. So the responsibility rests with all of us to stand up for our neighbours. We had a situation in Belfast where the Roma community were effectively threatened and driven out of Belfast. I stood with them on the streets because that was my duty as Deputy First Minister in the North, to make it absolutely clear that I was not going to tolerate such a situation. Now, they've since come back, but it requires courage and it requires people standing up on the streets and in the parliaments, making laws that defend the rights of people who are just the same as our immigrants when they went to America over 150 years ago.
Okay, thank you, Martin.
Claire McCallion, Student Union Council Chairperson of NUI Galway. From hearing all the candidates speak, not one has mentioned The rise in fees that third level students are getting and the lowering of the grant, these are targeting the people who need the most impoverished students. So 1 in 10 students don't even apply to the CAO because of fees. And I would like to know, will you, well, I'm going to address this to Michael D. Will you, as a presidential candidate, openly criticise the government if they lower the grant and raise the fees anymore?
A bit of a yes and no question, Michael.
No, it isn't, because I haven't taken much time, but I will answer very briefly. The position is I was proud to be a member of the cabinet that abolished fees. But also, the last thing young people want is to be told something that is untrue. The President will not be able to influence a decision such as the rising or otherwise of fees. But what the President may do, which I've done all my life, is to speak of the importance of universal access to all levels of education all through life. That is the truth, and the truth is all I can give you. But it is an important one, to speak of the right of universal access all through life, and that includes all through age groups and generations. Because around the country, no young person I've met has asked me for anything that is at the cost of another generation, and I pay tribute to them for that.
Okay. Martin wants to come in this very quickly, and then we're going to this young woman here, and then we're coming here.
Well, I want to absolutely agree with Michael D, but I want to add to that the challenge that we faced in the North over the course of the last number of months. The British government took a decision to hike up tuition fees to around 9,000 for England and Wales. And I think they did that thinking that we would be forced to follow suit. Peter Robinson and I sat down and discussed it, and we decided we would not follow suit, that we have kept the fees pegged at the 3,000 and will not increase them during this term of the Assembly. Hugely important that we have access to education at third level for our people, particularly people from disadvantaged areas, and that's the reason we took that decision.
Okay, this young woman over here.
Hi, my name's Aisling. I'm a youth peer educator for sustainable development for UNESCO, and the issues of environment and sustainable development are hugely important for the future of this country and our society. And not one of you has mentioned about educating young people on either of these issues, and I was wondering if you place importance on protecting the environment.
Okay, I'm going to actually direct these questions for you, because otherwise we'll never get to it. Mary, would you respond to that?
I have actually spoken in some of the counties that I've been in relation to protecting the environment, and I think it is an important issue, and we need to protect our environment. And as part of the work that I have done in the area of active citizenship, I have promoted that, and I will continue to promote it in my role as President.
Okay, David?
I spoke on electric.
I'm not sure that answers that question, Michael D. But anyway.
Well, all right, can I just say, you invited me to speak, so I know you didn't mean to interrupt, Michael.
No,
but
David,
just
I
to
wouldn't
say,
interrupt you.
I know that. I think my record is fairly clear in terms of the record of Janet Aaron, in terms of my involvement in environmental groups all over Ireland, in terms of the fact that I was invited as a guest down to Clonakilty in Cork, transition year, and I spoke out all over the place about it, because these were teenage young women who'd spotted the fact that the rich flow of effluent off the farmland created a bloom of sea lettuce. They discovered, they examined it, they could compress it, turn it into briquettes that had twice the burning time of turf and half the damage. So that's fantastic. Young people taking an environmental problem and turning it into a plus. That's my record, but we don't in 2 minutes have time to set out your entire stall. But believe me, I'm on your side with regard to the environment, and I can talk about Corrib gas and turf and the whole rest of them.
Yep, thanks,
Actually,
David.
I think you'll find that, as with every other question that comes up here, there is no one on this platform that probably doesn't support all the views you're going to ask. But I can tell you, in the interest of not just preaching about environmental issues and also saving the taxpayer, I decided in this election not to hang one poster on a lamppost anywhere in Ireland.
Just like myself. Thank you, Sean. Well done.
Hi, my name is Patrick, and I represent an organisation called Belong To. As you know, homophobia is a huge problem in schools. It's affected friends of mine. It's obviously affecting the 27% of LGBT people who are attempting suicide every year. I'm not prepared to allow that to go on anymore.
Good.
And I'm wondering, the proclamation states to cherish the children of the nation equally. I know David Norris's record, and Michael D. Higgins spoke about it just a minute ago. I really would like to know what Mark McGuinness, Sean Gallagher or Mary Davis would do in regards to this issue.
Okay, thanks very much.
Well, I'm not going to give you a long-winded answer, but I would refer you to the fact that under the department which I jointly headed up with Peter Robinson, we have responsibility for equality issues. This is an issue for our department, and that we have taken very stringent moves to ensure that people who are from the LGBT community are protected, and not only protected but funded. And we have supported and met with them on countless occasions. Now, there is a difficulty within certain sections of unionism to the particular issue. But
and if you were president here, Martin...
It's not just unionism, Martin.
As far, yeah.
It's not just unionism.
No,
I welcome your conversion to gay rights, but it wasn't always like that, and I'm the living example of it. Well, I can tell you more about that if you want. And I was told to get out of Ireland because I was gay, and I dealt with the people who came down from Derry, and they were Irish-speaking Catholics and nationalists, and they were run out of Derry, and they went to London, and they made little badges with should be a home of the AC on them, and I know exactly who was involved in it, but let's not get into too much of that. But I welcome the conversion, thank God for it, and if you can persuade Peter Robinson and his wife to get involved, I will shake your hand.
I do have to defend myself because I don't think I have had any conversion to the protection of the rights of people who are in the homosexual community. If people come down to Derry and done that, it was wrong. I unreservedly condemn it, but I don't think you can accuse me of having...
Oh, no, nothing personal at all, Martin. I think you did a very good influence in that area.
Thanks, David. Sean, did you want to come in very briefly on this, and then Mary?
No, other than that, of course, all of us would support the rights and stand in solidarity, whether that is attending conferences, raising the issue, addressing it. It is all about difference. It is all about tolerance, and it is all about respect for every individual. That's what I stand for, and would happily support.
And gay marriage?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to make that point. I do support the rights, absolutely, and I do believe in gay marriage, absolutely. And I was delighted with the civil partnership, but we have to go one.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I put the first one down.
But we do need to go one step further, and also that same-sex couples have the right to adopt if they wish to adopt.
My name's Mark. I'm just here as an independent, shall we
Yeah.
say.
Okay. Yeah.
My question is for Mark McGuinness. You talked in your opening statement about a 32-county republic. How would you propose, with the history and everything, to achieve this as president?
Okay, good question. I've been very fortunate to have been at the heart of the negotiations that led to the Good Friday Agreement, and the St Andrews Agreement, and the Hillsborough Agreement, which has undoubtedly set us on an entirely new course as we move forward. I have made one of the proposals in the course of this campaign that if I were elected President of Ireland from 2012, I would like to see a decade of national reconciliation. And the work of reconciliation is actually going on. Now, sometimes you wouldn't know it when you listen to some of the commentary that has been made from some of the media in Dublin over the course of the last while. Now, I'm not ashamed of my past, but it actually was David Trimble that coined the phrase in the North that because somebody has a past doesn't mean they can't have a future. And you wouldn't know that from some of the commentary that have been made about me over the course of the last while. But the Good Friday Agreement makes it absolutely clear that if a majority of people in the North vote to end the link with Britain, the British government will legislate to bring about the reunification of Ireland, which can only happen now by purely peaceful and democratic means. Now, it will take as long as it takes to make it happen.
And you as president, what can you do as president? Because I think that was...
What I can do is try to encourage people to recognise the value, for example, of developing an all-island economy, which would be hugely beneficial to people all over the island. We're the people who took the decision at the recent meeting of the North-South Ministerial Council, myself, Peter Robinson and David Trimble, to build a new road from County Monaghan through to Letterkenny and County Donegal and through to Derry City. We had a big campaign in the North West around cancer services for women with breast cancer. And we had a bit of a row with the Ulster Unionist Party, who held the health portfolio, where they were putting the establishment of a radiotherapy centre at Galvin Hospital on the back burner. After the last election, we overturned that, Peter Robinson and myself, and the radiotherapy centre will now be built at Galvin Hospital to treat people from County Donegal, County Tyrone and County Derry and all over the North West. That's how we're going to bring about the unity of Ireland, improving relations between ourselves, building bridges between ourselves, as Mary McAleese has adequately done. When I walked down to Free Derry Corner, last point, when I walked down to Free Derry Corner at the start of my journey around Ireland's 32 counties to become the new president, there were 2,000 people waiting for me at the corner. And when I looked up onto the platform, who was sitting on the platform, and I didn't know he was going to be there, the Reverend David Latimer from First Derry Presbyterian Church, someone that I've had a very strong friendship with over the course of the last 5 years. We continue to reconcile, build relationships. That's how we're going to bring about a united Ireland, by peaceful and democratic means.
Okay, now we've got time. Okay, we're nearly done in time, and I'm genuinely not going to get you all. There's two people with mics, so let's take those two questions and see where we're at. The young woman at the back and the young fella down here. Oh, this young woman here, yeah.
Hi, I'm Suzanne from the Get On Board campaign to put youth mental health on the agenda. And my question for you all today is...
Can you ask it to one person?
Okay, to Michael D then. Will you commit to holding a youth mental health forum in Irish and John within 100 days of being in office if you become president?
That is a yes. All right.
Okay, that is a yes or no answer. Okay, well, we can ask all of them that if we get a yes or no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
okay, a youth mental health forum in the Irish within 100 days. Yes or no?
I have said that the first of the 9 presidential seminars will be about being young in Ireland, and it will include that issue, and it will be the very first of the presidential seminars, and I will try to do it within the first 100 days.
Martin? I'd say we get a yes. Yes or no?
Absolute yes, but I am also going to do. Yes. I'm also going to do one other thing apart from getting a task force to join the Taoiseach, and that is to open Áras an Uachtaráin on Christmas Day for the homeless.
Okay. I have already one. Yes. Okay. Go on the yes too. Okay. Young fella here. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Patrick O'Sullivan. I'm from the Dublin Council. First off, I'd just like to say to Mary Davis in relation to the comment that was made earlier in relation to your posters being airbrushed and photoshopped, so on and so forth. Dublin Council has recently carried out a huge campaign throughout Ireland on body image, which the youth told us in last year's AGM in November that they felt that the magazines and such other forms of advertising and media are abusing Photoshop and changing the look and stereotyping, therefore leading to many young men and women today feeling down in themselves because they don't look like the photos. So by you photoshopping your photo campaigns, you've contradicted exactly what we have done on Dublin Council.
Can I categorically say I did not Photoshop? I did not Photoshop those pictures. I told you it was a combination of lighting, of good photography.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
Can I just say one other thing to Martin McGuinness? Martin,
no, you've had your point. Will you just pass it on to the young woman here?
One point I've been waiting since the start. Martin, you said at the beginning about the 6 counties. Do Ireland not have enough troubles at the moment with the recession, financial control, so on and so forth, with the 26 counties we have? Well, how can we manage with the 6 counties we currently have?
Immediately. It's something that has to happen.
We can't handle with the 26 counties we have. How are we meant to handle with the 6 counties left?
But let's not be partitionist.
Okay, yeah, your cursing works here, actually. Okay, we're going to take 2 more questions, and then we have to wrap it up because we've committed to getting the candidates out on time. There's a fellow with a mic here and a young woman here. So okay, go.
Thanks a million.
We'll take them all together. In the end.
Yeah, my name is Mustafa from the Wave Change Social Entrepreneur Ireland, and I'm an advocate for young asylum seekers and supported children in Ireland. But my question obviously relates to all those candidates, but I asked this question particularly from Mary Davis because she said that in her review that I said Ireland should be as a society with equal opportunity and fairness to all those citizens. But we know that the asylum seekers coming into Ireland, and obviously Ireland is also a multicultural country now, but some of them are living in isolation, in hostels, lack of education, lack of access to be fully integrated in the society. But the question is, if you to be the next president of Ireland, I hope anybody, what can you do to help them get basic education, to give them access and footpath as a stepping stone to contribute positively to Irish society? Thanks.
Thank you. And the very first thing that I would do is go to the venue, go to where those asylum seekers are living, because I have been already. But it would be much more influential to go back as president, because I have seen the conditions that they're living in, and I am not happy with them. In fact, they're a disgrace in some cases. So what I would do first of all is use my voice for those people who do not have a voice, and I would urge the government to take them out of those areas and integrate them into communities so that they can get a basic education.
We're really through them.
This question hopefully would be attention to all.
I know, I'm really sorry, but we just don't have time. But
It's not a popular issue. I've taken it up repeatedly, and the result was I got a front page with a damnable libel about myself. That I got a passport for lover number 2. A total bloody lie. You try to hurt the underdog, and you become the victim. You all know how I feel about the press? I'd like to tell you how I felt about the person who wrote that article that day. They're damn lucky they weren't in my kitchen when I was finishing my coffee.
We're going to say, we're taking one more. Here is the young woman at the back, and then we've got to finish this. I'm really sorry.
My name's Lisa Sheehy. I'm also on the Dublin Council. We know there are major problems in relation to mental health. All the questions here are related to mental health. It's such a big deal. But what are the solutions? I have a solution. Every person in this room has a solution to some topic. Are you, the candidates here, just to tick a box and say you heard the voices of young people? Are you actually going to take them on board?
Okay, I'm going to take the next question, and then we're going to come back to this question. And just to finish up, I want the candidates to respond to that question, which is, what are you tangibly going to do to take on board and work with young people if you were president? And we'll...
Hi, my name's Lorelei, and I have a question for Sean Gallagher. I was just wondering what your opinion is on the lack of protection and rights for the children of lesbian, gay and transgendered people in Ireland.
Lack of rights. The question's about, specific to Sean, about the lack of rights for children of lesbian, gay, bi-gender couples. Is that right? Yeah, in Ireland. Just specifically to Sean.
The lack of rights.
And also me.
She asked it to Sean, yeah.
Have you got a specific example that you...
Going to hospital, your lack of connection with step-parents or your non-biological parent, your inability to be taken out of the country by your non-biological parent, adoption rights, any of it, really.
Yeah, and I think I made the point, and some people have raised it with me on the Late Late Show, that the area of the rights for those of same-sex couples is not one that I have a huge knowledge of. The whole area of adoption is another one. I think obviously anybody who is in a home with parents deserve to have the rights, of course, and I would support that. And I'm happy to hear of any views, equal rights, of any, of course.
Okay, thanks very much. I'm really sorry to rush it. I'm going to have to stop you there.
I put down the amendments on address that if I've been supported.
Okay,
and I was supported by Emily Logan, the children's ombudsman.
Try and finish up here on time, because we promised the candidates we would get you out of here at 5:30. I'm just going to give the candidates 15 seconds to tell young people in Ireland, and 15 seconds, one tangible thing you would do if elected President of Ireland for young people. One tangible thing. Martin.
I think it's very important to talk to young people. When I was Minister of Education in the North, young unionists were encouraged to walk out of the schools against me. I invited them to my department. They sat down and talked to me. I explained to them about my role in the peace process. The protests ended, and I sailed on as Minister of Education for 3 years.
Okay, thanks very much. Michael D.
I will be appointing a young person, a person representative of each generation, to the Council of State, and the first seminar I have will deal with being young in Ireland, which includes youth education, young people not being listened to, youth in administration, youth unemployment, youth suicide, and all of the stresses and health of young people, including mental health particularly, and its neglect.
Thanks, Michael.
And like Michael D, I think we've all accepted that we will appoint someone from the representing young people to the Council of State. It's symbolic as well as an access to getting a free flow of information. The two other areas, and the only answer to long-term disadvantage that I've ever seen working in the inner city, is access to education and skills, and the most important after that is access to employment. My commitment is to do everything I can every day of the next 7 years to make sure that you guys have the right to stay here, to find a job, and to be able to provide for yourself. Okay. And to me, that will do the most important thing in Ireland for mental health, through education and employment.
Okay. Thanks, John.
I will do my best. I made a note of the checklist, what you wanted. Hope, inspiration, stimulation. I will do my best, my damnedest, to give you that. But I tell you one thing, and I said this in the gay community as well, don't cut yourself off. I mean, you're young. Yes, I was young once.
Okay.
I'm still young. Don't just make yourself one little separate ghetto. We're all part of a community, and the thing that will rise young people as well is being part of that entire Irish community, which I promise to celebrate, not just on your behalf, but on behalf of your mother, your grandmother, your aunts.
Okay, thanks, David. Mary.
Council of State, absolutely. There should be a minimum of one young person on the Council of State representing Ireland abroad and ensuring that on some of the state visits that I would travel on, that there was a young person with me to represent the views of young people abroad, and I would embrace the issues that are of huge concern to you, particularly in relation to unemployment and mental health.
Okay. That's it. I'm really sorry for those who didn't get in. To thank all the candidates before they go for coming along and participating. We really appreciate it. Can you fill out your poll forms? You fill out your polls. You were polled on the way in, so we need your pink poll forms on the way out. Thank Dublin Contemporary for the room and Spunout for organising it. And thank you for coming here. Thank you very much.
Well done.
And just everybody else, before you go, if you stay in your seats for 2 minutes more, we'll have the poll counted in about 3 minutes, just to tell you who you thought did well. So if you just stay in your seats, we'll get the candidates out. Anyone with pink slips, get them passed to someone.
Sorry about that.